Hey everybody, it's Jason Blah here, and I had a subscriber ask a question, which I will flip in here for you guys, and he's basically saying, hey, Omar Isuf did a recent video about chin-ups versus pull-ups. What do you think about that? So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, do a little bit of crafting, and let's talk about it. Alright, I'm going to wait to watch Omar's video till later. I'm going to be busy today. I needed to get a video up this morning. Seems like a great topic. Now, without even watching Omar's video yet, I doubt Omar and I are going to disagree on whatever's going on, but feel free to watch his video, watch my video, and figure out whatever the truth is in between. But generally speaking, even though I haven't watched any fitness YouTube videos in quite a while, I don't recall Omar ever making any major mistakes regarding training. Omar is generally smart about training. I think he in general puts out good advice. And he knows what he's doing, so I find it unlikely he said anything ridiculous in the video. And I doubt we're going to disagree. Now, when it comes to chin-ups versus pull-ups, which one is better? Now, I've got my opinions on this. I've got reasons on this, but you know what? When you're dealing with picking an exercise like that, we are talking tit for tat as far as why one would be better than the other. And the reason I would say that is because pull-up and a chin-up are both full-body exercises that move the entire body through a long range of motion. They work a lot of muscle groups. They work very similar muscle groups. Exercises like that are always good exercises. It's very rare. Actually, I can't think of a single exception of any exercise that moves the body through space through a significant range of motion that isn't a good exercise. Usually those tend to give you the best overall development. They tend to be overall mass builders and overall strength builders. So when you're talking about a pull-up versus a chin-up, and even other variations, they're generally going to be extremely good exercises, if not competing for the top exercises for that. So if you happen to pick any one of those, whether it's the pronated grip pull-up, some people consider that a chin-up, or sorry, the hammer grip one versus a pronated grip a pull-up, or supinated, which is a chin-up. If that's what you're picking as a major middle and upper back and bicep exercise, you haven't made an unintelligent choice. They're all good choices. It's not like if you choose one over the other that you've made an unintelligent choice or are doing something wrong. They're great exercises. In fact, as I've discussed in the past, the Russians had a lot of data on this that they compiled during the Cold War, and the Russians basically concluded that any exercise that moves the body through space is going to tend to be, in their experience and their notes, slightly superior for overall development and overall strength through your full body than any exercise that keeps your torso stationary. Right? That was their observations. That was their notes. And they think it has something to do with the fact of moving your body itself against gravity has some sort of different hormonal effects, was something that they concluded in terms of hormone release inside the muscle tissue, like IGF-1. And how much of that part's true, I don't know, but that was their hypothesis at one time. All these Russian physiologists, when they were destroying us in strength sports during the Cold War and the Olympics. So maybe there's something to that. But I think a lot of it is that because you're having to move the body through space and shift it in certain ways, that it puts more work on various stabilizers. It engages the core more. Engaging the core more oftentimes has a radiant effect that causes higher neuromuscular efficiency in other muscles in your body, which helps them contract harder. So that in addition to other stabilizers having to be used. So I think there's a lot of that going on there, and I think that's a lot of what's going on with these sort of things. I think it's the extra core involvement as far as stabilizers on most of those exercises that does cause like a radiant effect, and it does affect your ability to recruit muscle fibers. Just like gripping a bar really, really hard on some exercises can make you slightly stronger. And and being stronger means you're recruiting more muscle fibers more quickly. Well, that's how muscle fibers grow. That's how they develop, recruitment. So these are all good choices. Now, me personally, because I've seen data out there suggesting that there's extra muscles that get worked more effectively on the chin-up, the underhand grip, versus the pull-up, I tend to tell people to do the chin-up. That's the reason I advocate it. And also, people need to remember, I'm a big fan of moving weights through longer ranges of motion. That's why I generally, for most people, recommend the conventional deadlift instead of the sumo. The sumo cuts out range of motion. All right, so we're dealing with something very similar here. Cuts out range of motion. The chin-up's a longer range of motion exercise than the pull-up. Same thing with a closed grip bench press versus a wider grip bench press. I usually recommend the closed grip bench press for general size and strength buildup for that same reason, moving the weight through a longer range of motion. The chin-up has the longest range of motion of these. I consider that to be a significant point. I consider that to be a big deal because, again, longer ranges of motion tend to give slightly better overall development because more joints involved in the exercise move muscles through a further range of motion. The joints get moved further in general as far as the different joints go, and that tends to give you better strength carryover through all your ranges of motion because there is something called joint angle specificity in exercise science. That means that there's minimal carryover to getting stronger on any exercise or movement in which you're not training it through the full range of motion. There's only so many degrees that you will gain full strength beyond which you trained it, and by doing these you're giving yourself better ranges of motion through healthy ranges of motion on these exercises. The only time it's a problem is if it's potentially dangerous to your joints, such as going extremely low on a dip. But otherwise, that's what's going on. It's a case of moving everything through a longer range of motion is a big deal. Now, the other thing is that the chin-up has been determined with EMG studies to actually activate muscles significantly that are not always considered to be part of any pulling motion, which is interesting because generally you're going to think of the chin-up as being a lat exercise. Lats, rear delts, biceps, brachialis, some forearms, radial brachialis, rhomboids, all of that stuff. Those are the muscles you're thinking of being working in your middle traps and all of that. Because that's what's worked on a lat pull down, that's what's worked on other exercises. But what has been found is that there are 3 different muscles that are worked very significantly on the chin-up that really shouldn't be in theory when you just look at the motion without looking at it closely. And that's going to be the upper pecs, the pectoralis minor, actually gets worked enough on the chin-up that it may actually stimulate growth there. Now, is it going to be as much as an incline bench press or a dumbbell incline bench press? No. But you know what? Cumulative work adds up when it comes to building muscle and strength. All right, a exercise that doesn't hit a muscle amazingly well but still hits it decently well can still add additional growth and growth stimulation. You got to remember, a muscle's growth is a response to the cumulative training that you subject it to. Week in, week out, month in, month out. It's all about total work that the muscle has been subjected to. Well, chin-ups add workload to your upper chest. They help recruit muscle fibers there. They also, turns out, recruit the long head of the tricep. The long head of the tricep is actually significantly recruited on the chin-up. It's more of a stabilizer there because it's working its secondary function, which is, you guys can look it up yourself. Its primary function, just like the rest of the tricep, is to flex, bend the elbow, extend the elbow. However, it gets put through a stretch there, and it can activate the stretch reflex a little bit in the long head of the tricep. Well, for most people, the long head of the tricep is the head that lags the most. That's the one that a lot of people actually need to put extra work on. The chin-up works on it. It helps and activate it a little bit. So again, it might help with people who have that as a lagging head of their tricep. So again, it can help fix a weak point. Not an insignificant thing. And then more importantly, what we found is that chin-ups, particularly weighted chin-ups, activate the abdominals very effectively. Very effectively, more so than the pull-up, more so than a lot of other exercises. So it's actually a useful core exercise, at least for the abdominals, not the full core. But your abdominals get worked, again, it's been found with EMG studies, significantly enough that the chin-up can help abdominals grow, and it can help them develop and help them become stronger. So when you factor in that the chin-up has a longer range of motion, that it works the upper chest, it works the long head of the tricep, and it works the abdominals all as additional bonus muscles in the mix, that makes it, in my opinion, this is my opinion, a better overall size and strength builder. All right, and again, for guys who are chasing aesthetic stuff, which again is not my thing, It isn't my thing at all, but I understand how important it is to a lot of people out there. All right, I get that. Well, this works three of your most important aesthetics muscles as secondary muscles being thrown in. Upper chest, long-headed tricep, and your abs. Those are muscles that you generally can't overwork. That you can't really overdevelop for guys who are doing the whole bodybuilding or men's physique or aesthetic type thing. Those are oftentimes weak points for many of those guys. So the chin-up would actually be a fantastic exercise for those people chasing that when you think about it, because again, it's also a great bicep builder on top of it. So that's my opinion on pull-ups versus chin-ups. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.